lot of work with natural language and with semantic search, and you know, it helps if I spell things correctly. So here on the reference, here's a good example of how we're applying the power of semantic search and semantic technology to our results. This is an example where if you look at something like how is plastic made, for example. This is a hard question for any engine to answer, right? What we actually do is parse that down. You try to understand, what are you asking? What are the words you're using? What is plastic? How does it relate to the things in general? And actually going across a lot of the public data sources like Wikipedia and Freebase and these things, and actually pulling out the information from these different sources and pulling it into an experience that lets you drill deeply into these sources in a way that lets you interact more naturally with the engine using natural language. So here, when I say, how is plastic made, it will actually quickly drill into something like this. It's plastic, great, that should be pretty easy. And then on the right rail here, I can actually narrow it down and say and look at all the different information about plastic, chemical structure, history of plastics. And this is just Wikipedia augmented with natural language. We are taking the Wikipedia article and actually overlaying natural language on top to help people get through it faster. So, again, looking at this notion of constant refinements, of trying to actually bring some knowledge to the experience, we think that the reference vertical is fairly interesting. Okay, last section I'll talk about, and then we'll get into viewer mail. Any questions? Because we have half hour left. So the last section I'll talk about really is this task mentality. How are people using engines to get things done? How are they engaging in these tasks? And what can we do to help them? Let's do something simple first. Let's go look at the restaurants that we're currently in. Let's take it a step further and look at Duca and let's go to the latest search here. Look at Duca San Francisco. I hope I'm saying that wrong. So again, similar thing that you see in other engines. You've got you've got the map, you've got the information, you've got the phone number, you've got reviews, you've got the ability to actually go ahead and get directions from your current hotel to this place. But again, similar type of concept. I can click into Duca here, and just like with products, we're actually bringing the power of all the computational resources that we have to make sense of all the reviews across the web about this place. Because 72% of people are using search to figure out local business information, to make decisions about local businesses. So here, same thing, we've actually taken Duca, we've pulled in all the data, and we're doing a similar thing. If the most important thing to you is, say, service, you can quickly drill in and see all the different sentences and paragraphs about service, both positive and negative. And this person was angry. That happens. Whatever. But we can actually go through and see, generally, service is pretty good at Duca. So what, again, what's helping you do is say, I care about service. I don't want to read 180 reviews across different sites. I can narrow my search down quickly by using this technology to make my decisions. Also things like, when we get to these pages, how do we actually provide the easy ways to get there? One-click directions. So if you know how to get from your house to Lombard, the question is how do you get from Lombard to Duca? Boom, one-click, that can get you one-click directions right to there. So again, leveraging that power of the kind of computational intelligence that we have, and all the servers we have, all the people we have, making sense of that data and bringing it into knowledge is one of the key things that we're working on. What else? Let's talk about health. Health is important. 45% or so of people use search engines to research health conditions. That's good and bad. You've seen the information out there on health. You've seen, Jimmy in his parents' basement in Ohio writing a blog about, whatever, diabetes or something like that. So it's great that people are using engines to research this stuff. The risk and challenge is that there's a lot of bad information out there. So for health, we said, okay, what can we do there? I mean, we have a thing like, again, this notion of how do we let people feel confident in their decisions. So if you look at this, for example, diabetes, we actually will pull in articles from all these licensed sources, so MedStory, MD Consult, Mayo Clinic, and help people actually say, here's information on diabetes that you can trust, that they actually have some reputable person or a doctor behind it. And it works with drugs, it works with clinics, that kind of thing. Look what else we're doing. Getting back to that notion of making sense of the chaos across the web, because frankly it is kind of chaos. You can see here there are, 48.4 million results for diabetes. That's kind of overwhelming, to me personally. So what we're doing actually in the left rail here, you'll see this thing called categorized search. These are called quick tabs. So the important thing is that what I'm able to do is scroll down and see the results broken up into these categories. So types, symptoms, diets, complications. All designed, again, to take that 48.4 million results and apply a layer of intelligence on top to help you understand what exactly, how exactly you may want to treat this, what the symptoms are, that kind of thing. So really allowing you to drill deeply into these results, help you along with that refinement process, stop making you guess about how to tell the engine what you want. Those are all the things that we're really focusing on for the health and the search experience in general. Last, let's look at something that is dear to my heart. Let's do travel. So here I typed in San Francisco to Seattle. You can use real words, or you can be geeky like me and use 3-letter codes. When you do something like that, what we actually are able to do, again, is recognize your intent. You say, okay, if you're querying SFO to SCA, you're probably not looking for a document or a web page that has those letters on it. That isn't logical. Logically, we know that people, when they do these types of queries, they have a travel intent. Now, our challenge is how do we actually understand your intent, and how do we do something with that to make it more valuable? So here what we've done is say, you punch in that query, you say, hey, you know what? We can find you tickets, and by the way, we think fares are actually going to go up in the next 7 days. So now it's probably a good time to go ahead and make that purchase of the ticket. So I can drill into this, and you're actually now, what's happening? You're actually pivoting into an entirely new experience. And this is something you're seeing a lot, and we'll see more through Invade. But we don't think that the 10 blue link model is always the right model for search. Like for this example, 10 blue links of SFO to SCA isn't the right response to what you're trying to do. What it actually is something like this. When it's a travel experience, how do we pivot that user experience in a way that actually helps you get something done versus send you on kind of a wind chase, if you will, across the web? So here we're actually pivoting the entire search experience around travel. And what I can do now is say, okay, go ahead and find me tickets on the 13th of November from Seattle to San Francisco, or sorry, from SFO to Seattle. And what it's doing is it's actually telling me right here that we think that fares are probably holding steady, but it's probably the kind of buy. I can drill into this and actually see that we have a certain confidence interval around whether or not this particular ticket is going to go up, down, or stay steady. So what we're doing here is looking across a couple of billion different, it's like a Cartesian product of fare structures, right? For those in your side, looking at all the different permutations of routes and times and tickets and airlines, and we're using it on a back testing to figure out whether or not this ticket on these dates is going to go up, down, or stay steady. So again, looking at what you're trying to do, recognizing your intent, and leveraging our computational power to help you along with that decision is again, one of those kind of key tenets of things. So here I can, again, I say, okay, it's going to go, I can narrow it down, I can do all stuff here, but it's probably going to go up, so I'll buy it. With one click, I'm off to lastyear.com, and I made my purchase. So we're helping you along, helping you get to that destination at the end more simply. So, that's all the demos I'll do. So many of you have already seen this stuff, but I don't want to demo you to death.